I haven't posted any videos on the subject, which I think I should have. But anyway, in my pursuit of freedom and independence, which I think is the most valuable pursuit for me as an American who wants to affect some change, I've set about creating my own freedom and independence. And I do so without a whole lot of money because, I just don't make a lot of money. But that's all right because we do live in a world of God's abundance. And if you know where to look for it, you can find a tremendous amount. Say, for instance, the studs and piers and everything used to create the shell of this particular structure, my probably 170 square foot tiny house, is scrap. It's all scrap material from construction yards and housing projects, places where builders are building and they're throwing an enormous amount of stuff away. In addition, we can get an awful lot of good, cheap stuff that's essentially brand new from places like Lowe's, maybe Home Depot. Lowe's has what is called the Cull cart, C-U-L-L. Cull, it's wood that's been culled. Basically, it's been scrapped because of its warped dimensions, or it's got too many knots or holes in it. Any number of things, 2x4s, 2x6s, 2x10s, posts, you name it. Anything in building or lumber, they throw out a good amount of stuff, and you can buy that stuff for 10 cents on the dollar. So I've gotten several $100s worth of good lumber for probably not more than $40 to $60. I mean, we've paid $20 every time we've taken home a haul, and it's an enormous load of stuff. But that's the premise of this construction project, is to do so cheaply and effectively, and even without experience, because I have zero when it comes to building a home. But you got to learn somewhere. So this is my scrap house, my scrap tiny house. And a vast majority of the stuff, the materials used to build it, is all scrap. And there's plenty more to go around. And if you have a lot of building going on in your area, you may be able to, talk to some of these foremen and, maybe even some of the scrap companies and just haul off pickup truckloads of good wood. Anyway, so I'm approaching completion of this project with the exterior anyhow. It still has a fair amount of work to do. Building the bones is the easy part. There's a lot of small details that goes into building a functional structure with the creature comforts like power and water and air conditioning. That's a great thing to have out here in the North Carolina summer, where it's probably 92 degrees today. But it's a beautiful day, and these nice maple trees give us great shade. I love the trees. And just to demonstrate the fact that you are listening to an idiot, here's my first attempt at a greenhouse. I think my imagination was bigger than my reality could produce. So I'm going to downsize that, and we're going to turn that. Right now it's an 18 by 36. So I'm going to bring this pole over and make it a 12 and make the arch lower. Use 3 poles instead of 5. And hopefully that'll provide a bit more robustness in the structure, and I can clamp down the plastic and all that sort of stuff. That's my little mini foundry, thanks to Grant Thompson on YouTube, who is deceased, but his brother has taken over. And that's a lot of fun. I melt down beer cans with that. Mostly beer cans to make recovery coins. And there off in the distance is a pile of brick. This is all brick. All of it is scrap. All of it is gotten from Craigslist or Curb Alerts or any number of things. And then including these pallets. Now these pallets, I mean, it's the perfect structure, it seems to me, to get some immediate relief from access issues that you may have on some raw land. Because raw land is, of course, full of this, which, can be a harbor for snakes and bugs and all that kind of stuff. And you don't want to go trudging around all that stuff when you're building. So why not go down and pick up some pallets? Because pallets are in an absolute state of abundance right now. People don't know what to do with pallets. People are paying me to take their pallets just to get rid of them. And every single retail shop on the planet receives stuff on pallets. So pallets is just an ideal and ingenious way of, at least I think, of gaining immediate access to an area if you have a steady supply of pallets and are willing to go through the work. And so that's what I did here. And of course, I extended the pad out to make room for another greenhouse, but I think we need about 50 gallons of Roundup out here, or something in order to clear out all this stuff. I tried using tar paper, and tar paper actually does leave a nice path. It bakes the earth and kills everything underneath it if you can keep it stable. And therein lies the problem, is when it rains and the sun's out and it starts to warp and the wind blows it and it just goes all over the place. So it is a viable option, but you need something to keep it down. And of course, once it's down, you can either lay soil on top of it, or you can just leave it whatever you want, because it's not going to be growing any weeds. And then of course, I've got a little bit of a solar bank here. We bought the Titan 1000 system. Comes with 5 100-watt solar panels, and I've just got a little temporary structure right there, and I'm gonna, at some point in time, I think I'm gonna mount it on top of the trailer, but I haven't decided yet because it does receive, well, I'll figure it out one step at a time. Oh, got those pavers right there too. All free, all good stuff. So anyway, I guess there's a little blueberry bush. This is actually my first build, the storage shed, and it's just a 10 by 10, also using scrap materials. Of course, the scrap materials gives it its side panels a lot of character, because they're not uniform, they're scrap. And it was a nice structure. I camped in it last summer, before I started building the tiny house. And it served a good purpose. This here is the water tower that I built to try and prove that I can store, capture, and use rainwater. And of course it works great, but I'm going to rebuild it in a better fashion since we're beyond the self-proving grounds. And this is lovely Oxford, North Carolina. It is a beautiful place. It's still in the country. That's my rain roof I built also last summer, just to capture and channel that rain into those barrels. And it did work, but I used plastic valves, and that cracked, of course, in the wintertime because I'm an idiot. And but I'll use metal next time. But this, once again, is Oxford, North Carolina. It's a beautiful place to be, and it's still very country, despite the fact that it has an enormous amount of history. But I've got 12.68 acres up here, and it's a perfect place to flex my freedom and independence and try retiring by means of freedom and independence instead of by means of savings. Of course, I'm trying to save as well, but hey, once you get your freedom and independence, you're unplugged, you're off grid, you don't have to work for anybody else, you got nothing but time to innovate and create. And that is the premise of this whole project, is that, what I should have learned in school in my formative years that were pissed away, is I should have learned to live free and independent. I should have learned and been completely proficient at growing food of any variety. 12 fucking years. I should be able to grow any food of any variety. I should be able to clean and pump water and capture it. I should be able to build small systems to generate electricity, and I should be proficient in building structure, building shelter, because those are the 4 basic requirements for us to survive and thrive on this planet as human beings. Is we need food, shelter, water. We don't really need it. Well, we kind of need electricity since we are electromagnetic beings, but we need external electricity to power our appliances and stuff like that. That's for the creature comforts, less of a necessity, because after all, we did survive and thrive for a long time without power. So anyway, that is what this is all about, and I hope you're enjoying this magnificent day as I am. This will all be different one day. And as we progress past the learning stage, where function takes precedence over form, eventually I will have time since, well, I'll have time to focus on form one day. But for now, have a kick-ass day.